Welcome back, everybody. It is Tuesday and it is time for another breakdown video. I want to find something that rhymes with Tuesday, but I'm not really doing a teardown video. This is more of a breakdown, breaking something down into its individual parts and hopefully helping you guys run a rapid. At least that's how I was going to start, just doing some breakdown videos. I might just be kind of the breakdown reaction video time. I'm still getting some timelines running around. I've been kind of on a wonky work schedule a little bit. Other than that, we're actually gonna stop going off on that tangent. We're gonna go back to this video. We are doing the last video on the Gates of Lodore section of the Green River. In this video, we'll be tackling Disaster Falls. It's not as scary as it sounds. Disaster Falls was really named by the Powell expedition, Major John Wesley Powell, and his expedition when they mapped the Green River and into the Colorado into the Colorado and the Grand Canyon. That's their line: Green River, Colorado, Grand Canyon, as they went down the river. If you guys haven't rafted in Utah or even down the Grand Canyon, I know a lot of people haven't, I haven't, but John Wesley Powell is a very big kind of explorer in that area. Lots of history about him. Anyway, the Powell party lost one of their boats in Disaster Falls. So that's why it's called Disaster Falls. In my opinion, it's a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to do than Triplet, and it's a lot smaller than Hell's Half Mile. Both of which I have videos of. I'll leave them in the description. You can guys go, click on the link, go check them out. If you guys are interested in running this section at all, hopefully these videos help you out. The thing right off the front of the video here, before we let the video roll, is just wanted to point out that on this, the river takes a 90-degree turn to the right, whichever way that, I think it's this way for you guys when you're looking at me. This is my right hand though. Anyway, it takes a 90-degree turn to the right, or almost a 90-degree turn to the right anyway, and that leaves a pocket just on the outside of the turn. You can pull your boats into there. There's a nice sandy beach back there. It's a nice spot to tie your boats off. Get out, and hike down the river left side of the river, river left side on the bank there, and you can actually see the top of Disaster Falls, or Upper Disaster Falls as people like to say. It's even marked that way on the map, so Upper Disaster Falls there. You can walk down further and see a Lower Disaster from the river, or from the bank, excuse me. There is an island in there that you can't really see over too well, but once you're through the upper portion and through a bit of a rock field, you'll get into the Lower Disaster Falls, and I'll run through upper and lower in this video so you guys won't get too confused with it. Enough jabbering, let's get into the video now. So in this one, I'm positioning myself out of that eddy and kind of into the center of the river here. You're gonna keep pushing. My main goal is to follow the boat in front of me. And there is these big rocks. I'm going to take a slight pause there. These big boulders here on the right side. I'm going to push my boat just to the left of those. That being said, over here on the left side, there are some rocks that are pour-over rocks. There's enough space between them. You could get a kayak or anything smaller, or anything around the size of like a Super Puma, or anything skinny like that. I would not recommend taking like a 14-footer or anything above a 14-footer that way, because those rocks can be pretty tight together, and at lower water levels you could probably stick a boat, pin a boat. Just not a situation you really want to be in. So kind of stay center right-ish, maybe a little bit, center-ish. As you saw the boat in front of me there, you might have to kind of zoom and enhance there a little bit, or at least pause the video and go back and look at it. But the raft ahead of me just went through a couple little bumps, and that's the channel I'm looking to go into myself. A little bit further here, and we'll be able to see the nice line through the rapid here. And so there it is, just about. Again, the rocks over here on the left side, like I said, you could probably get a small boat through there. It looks deceiving here on the GoPro footage, but it's pretty tight between those rocks. You really don't want to go in there with anything bigger than maybe a 13-foot boat. Kayaks could go straight through there, no problem, but those are kayaks. Kayaks can slip through almost anything if they're skilled enough. A few things of note here as we're going into it. The big boulders on the right side, and then these rocks here, and there's a few rocks just downstream in the crashing waves there. This is just a really bright part of the day. The sun was right on top of me. and so you can't really see the rocks too well from here. But I'm pointing my boat to the left a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of coast right and push through, kind of pointed to the left, ending up where that other boat is down there. So there, here, kind of on my left, my nose is almost pointed right at it, is one of those hidden rocks I was talking about, just under the water. There's another one to the right here. And so my main goal was to hit the right shoulder of this rock and just ride the waves out. Just like that. One good push, a little bit of a drop, and you're through. So not really that scary at all. That being said, not a spot you really want to put a boat sideways going into. If you think you are pointed at one of those rocks, you can't get away from one of those rocks, even if you're pulling backwards and you're pointing your boat and you're putting a pretty severe ferry angle on your boat, almost 90 degrees of the water. If you can't get away from it, push into it. More speed, just try and launch your boat over the top of that. If that doesn't work out and you get stuck on the top, well, you're stuck on the top of a rock. Hopefully you got some buddies ahead of you. Hopefully your group is watching you, and they can pull over, run up the left side, and throw a rope to you. I actually had to do that on my very first trip down the Gates of Lodore here. I had a catarafter get stuck on a rock. He somehow managed to straddle with a rock with his tubes, twist sideways, and the rock was on his upstream tube, or on the downstream of his upstream tube. So his tube was basically rock tube, and it was holding him right there. But I could throw a rope from the bank. He tied it off, and I just pulled him right off of it. So luckily enough, you're pretty close to the bank there. Other than that, we are coming into a spot of kind of a rock dodge. It's not as severe as a rock dodge as, let's see, coming out of like Hell's Half Mile, where you have a bit more of a breather here. But you can already see some rocks just under the water there on my left side. And then this left channel here, I do not recommend going down that way. And this got a skinny kayak, and you are confident on your kayak skills because it is shallow. The rocks are grouped really close together, and you could get stuck in there. And it's pretty hard to get back there, especially if you're just like... Sorry about that. Sam heard something outside and he got spooked. He's still a little grumbly. Anyway, we're headed into a bit of a rock garden here. Rocks there. Just keep your head on a swivel going through here. I'm just going to fast forward here. Something before I get too crazy into it is you'll see this rock wall right there. Don't go close to that. It gets really shallow in there. Stay more center left. Don't get too close to that rock wall. On one of the scouting excursions I was on here with oars anyway, I watched a private boater for probably 10 minutes trying to pull his boat off of that. He got off one rock, got stuck on another rock, another raft in his party got stuck on a rock as well, and they just kind of leapfrogged each other, getting stuck on rocks all the way down. So don't go that far. Don't go far right anyway, or stay center left is what I'm really trying to say. Alright, I'm going to fast forward here a little bit. Like I said, rocks everywhere, just center left, keep your head on a swivel, dodge around them. And then here we're getting into the lower part of Disaster Falls. There's really big crashing waves. It's a fun splashy time. So we're just gonna play the video. So right back there, I'll rewind the video just a tad bit, but right there is where that side channel exit out's at, or joins the main flow of that channel I said on the left, or I don't recommend going into it. That's the end of it there. So it's not that long of a channel, but as you can tell already, there's some rocks in there. It's pretty skinny, so I don't really recommend taking your raft down there at all. Floating along here, you do have more of these pour over rocks on the left side. So I say stay kind of center-ish, center left a little bit. Right here, don't go over that guy, don't get hit by the big boulder there. And then right here, you notice that both myself and the raft ahead of me anyway, are pointing or starting to point our boats at the left bank. He doesn't make it. He actually gets bumped between some rocks there. I managed to pull off of that and back into the center of the river. Luckily, he manages to make it. He manages to make it through a lot of this stuff. But you know, that's just something to watch out for. The rocks there on the left. There's another flat one right there. Not one you really want to get stuck on. But that was Lodore disaster right there. You know, not the craziest runs. You know, like again, I said, it's smaller than Triplet. It's smaller than Hell's Half Mile, of course. Another great feature about this, just like those other two, is there is kind of a group up point just around the corner here. It's a big sandy beach. You can't really miss it. It'll be on the left-hand side. So in case you get to this spot, you look back, you got a boater in trouble, or you know somebody in your party is in trouble, you could pull over here in these rocks there, or you could go around the corner. It's a nice group up spot to make sure everybody gets through the rapid. And from there you could actually stop, kind of work your way overland again to look over here and see and make sure everybody in your group is actually getting through the rapid. That being said, that was Disaster Falls. Can't really say anything much about it, or much more about it, excuse me. I don't have any other videos about it. That was basically the only video I have on it. That being said, if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down there in the comment section. And if you enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It would help me out so much. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video.